Hi everyone, thanks for joining me again. Today I'm just going to be doing a quick kit review and build review of the Battlestar Galactica by Mobius models in 4105th scale. A bit of an odd scale, but yeah, let's get cracking. Let's have a quick look at the box. Typical stuff, you've got your normal box art, the products that they sell, a few pictures of the ship, so on and so forth. Nothing too overly complicated, and you obviously got the nice picture on the front here itself. Let's have a look now. The parts in here come individually packed, so they're all packed in their own little plastic bags. There's I think there's 4 plastic bags in total, memory serves. I've opened them up just to speed things up a bit, and we'll show you the instructions and have a quick gander of those. So one thing I like about Mobius is all their instructions are in colour. They're pretty simple to read, and they give you a nice little blurb, and they've actually been quite creative with their instructions, trying to break them up a little bit and make them a little less boring. Pretty simple construction. It's almost like a good fitting Snapshot kit. Pretty simple instructions. It's not hard at all to put this kit together. There was really no stumbling blocks throughout the construction process that I found. It was pretty simple. One thing I will say is just make sure you paint the inside of the flight pods before you stick them together and before you put your decal in, obviously. You're not going to be able to do it after, so that's one thing I'd get done early. Other than that, pretty simple. The paint scheme on the ship they've got is pretty bland. So there's not much to it. You can do a lot more with it than that, and if you have a look a little bit later, you'll see what I mean. It doesn't take much imagination to get it going. So let's have a quick look at the model. The kit itself is very easily put together, as I was saying, but the detail on it is quite nice as well. So it's not, it's not 100% accurate. You're going to find fault with it if you look hard enough. But generally speaking, it's quite good. You can see these parts here. They've got a nice detail on them. These, I'm just going to call these armour plating for the sake of expediency. The armour plating itself, you could do a lot with that. The detail on it's quite good. You could highlight it, you could wash it, you could do all sorts of things. Same, and that's leading towards the front of the model. That's leading towards the back. That's obviously the bottom and the top. Pretty simple. Very little cleanup required on these parts. There's the odd bit of flash. You can see a bit sticking out there, just here below my finger. Odd bit of flash here and there, but for the most part it's pretty good. Very little cleanup. Joining the parts, some parts with the ribs will actually overlap onto each other, and they fit quite well. I found on some of them I had to give them just a very light sanding, just to tidy up the seam, tidy up the joint a little bit, but not too bad. These are the flight pods. As you can see, this is the top and the bottom. Pretty simple detail there. Pretty easy to go together. This is the only part, this is the internal of the flight pods. This was a little annoying, cleaning it out, but it wasn't hard. You can get it done easily enough. Just a little bit of time. And you have to neaten it up because you've got a section that goes in here, and you see it on the end model. Oh, excuse me. You see it on the end model if you don't tidy it up. One thing I will say is the guns are fairly lacking in detail. That was kind of disappointing. They could have done a little bit better on that, but overall, they could be worse. They could certainly be a lot worse, but not too bad. This is for the flight pods. The extension arm goes underneath, and these are the engines. But yeah, these let it down a little bit, but they could have been worse. This is for the front of the model. Again, and the stand's not bad. Got some good detail on there. Just try and get it showing in the light for you. Quite good little stand. I've sort of done a half-hearted job of painting mine. You could do a lot better than what I've done there. Once again, all parts here, and then we've got the last bits of the engines here. So good detail on these again. Really quite nice. Overall they've done quite a good job. Cleanup's not too bad. There's a few little niggly bits, but cleanup's not too bad. Most of it's Most of it's pretty simple. Clear parts, clear engine parts, so if you want to light the model, not too bad. The next one I do, I will be lighting it. I've decided I am 100% going to light it. Getting a bit better with the LEDs and whatnot, so I'll be a bit more adventurous on the next one. So here we go, and the decals. So these are the decals you'll find with the obviously the decals that come with the kit. These are for your flight pods. I had a bit of trouble with mine. They didn't break apart or anything like that. They are a little bit thick, but they just did not want to settle properly within the flight pod, and I'll show you what I mean on the completed model. I just had a bit of grief with them. Lettering, stenciling. Now these go on the outside of the flight pod, so the Galactica, and this one goes on top of the actual kit itself. These are quite good. These aren't too bad. They've actually put a shadow on the stenciling because on the show, if I'm not mistaken, the lettering's actually raised up off the flight pod, and they've tried to replicate that effect. Just by adding a shadow onto the decal, which is not too bad. If you really, really want to, I'm pretty certain you can actually get a photo etch set online to add the lettering on there, but it's not something I was really too concerned about. Last bit you got is the stand. This is quite solid. It's a solid piece of metal. It's not going anywhere. Fits in nicely to the kit, fits in nicely to the base. And let's stop boring you with that. Let's have a quick look at the completed model. Alright, so as you probably heard me say before, I'm by no means a professional, but I think I did a pretty good job on this kit, if I do say so myself. It's not too bad. And the beauty of it is it's actually really simple to do. Now you could do it with a brush, you could do it with an airbrush. It's not going to make a huge difference either way, I don't think. Save you a bit of time with an airbrush, obviously, but I think you still get some quite good effects. Very simply, the kit went together really well. There was no real issues there, as I was saying, with some of these bits here. I need to sand down the joins just a little bit, just to neaten them up and get them sitting all nice and flush with one another. They were okay. With the paint job, basically I just went over it with a really dark grey with an airbrush, and the top tail with the airbrush upside down, everything. Hit it with the airbrush, made sure it was nice and dark. Then put some Tamiya metallics through. There was a bit of chrome, there's aluminium, there's a few other bits and pieces through the airbrush as well, and just lightly dusted them onto the armoured areas, or those areas, just to make them pop a little bit more, make them stand out from the other bits. The ribs I did with a chrome, Tamiya chrome, just dry brushes on the ribs just to get them to stand out. I didn't want to make it look too uniform, wanted to look a bit splotchy, so went over those with the dry brush just to get them to pop. And as you can see here, I've picked out some of the panels on there as well. Now you could do that to your heart's content. I mean, really, you could go to town on that, and before you put all the decals on, and it would look fantastic. I've only done a couple that I've picked out. I did some in the darker grey and some in the light metallics, and it just stands out. Just makes it look a bit different. Now, one thing I will say is you will hear, oh, there we go, you'll hear a rattle as I'm doing this. Now that's because I'm actually part of a modelers club, and I took this down there just to show the boys and the girls, and me being the klutz that I am, as I was getting out of the car, went to take it inside and I dropped it, alright, and the stand was fitted when I dropped it. So you hear that? Look at that. Alright, awesome. Gotta love that rattle. So just forgive that. I am sorry. It is a bit silly. But so the stand, I had it fitted, and it hit on the ground on the stand, and that punched up into the model and knocked out the centre. Now, actually, it wasn't all that bad. I was a bit concerned about it initially, but it wasn't all that bad, because now when I position the stand in, I can actually put it on different angles, and the model will sit there quite well. And it looks quite good. So something to consider probably doing before you complete the model is just drilling out or cutting off that little bit of plastic inside there, and you could do the same thing. It actually works quite well. Underside, once again, gave the same treatment as the top, and pretty simple. The red panels I just picked out with a brush. I didn't bother masking them off or airbrushing. You don't need to. You really don't need to. It's quite a worn looking ship. Don't forget, in the show, the very first episode, it was meant to be retired, so it's had its life. Just give it a good paint job and make it look good. Once I did all that, once I picked out all the areas, dark wash in to bring out the panel lines. So I'm just trying to refocus a bit, in to bring out all the panel lines and in between the spaces. That was quite simple. Just slap it on, give it a wipe over the tops just to make sure that there's no excess sitting on top of the raised areas that you don't want it. Really basic. Alright, so this is something you'll definitely get knocked over in a weekend. It's not an overly complicated build, a very simple build, very nice kit to put together. A lot of fun to paint, it really was. I enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lot of good fun. Decals went down quite alright. Basically clear coated the model first, gave it a good clear coat, let that dry. And that was a clear gloss, by the way. Let that dry, set the decals down on top of it, and then clear coated those again. Did the same for all the areas where the decals went. And this one here, you see on the top there, if you get a bit of microsol, microset, you'll get that to fit into the ribs quite easily. Alright, I did that with mine, but I haven't gone over it again with the wash, which I should do, just to probably not as dark, but just to make it look a bit more recessed, because it actually is. It just doesn't show well in this light because it's still quite bright and reflective. As I was saying with the decals earlier, I had some trouble with the flight pods, and I'll show you what I mean. So if you look at the front here, this one lines up perfectly right at the front of the model there, and sits inside the flight pod. This one doesn't. All right, so it sits further back. You can see at the back again, that one's not too bad, sits quite nicely. That one is a bit shorter. Alright, so you can see if you can see there, that's the black goes right to the edge on that one, whereas it sits further back on that one. I just could not get that decal to sit where I wanted to. It was rolling left, right, center, it was going everywhere. I just could not get it centered. It did not want to stay there. And when it was centered, it would slide around. It would semi-dry in the wrong position. I'd think I got it set and it would shift. It was just a pain. Now, I think that was probably just down to something I was doing. I don't think it's got to do with the decals or the kit or anything like that. I think I've done something, I just don't know what. And maybe there was something where I was trying to set the decal I just didn't like, and it was repelling it. I have no idea. Never seen it before. Hope I never get it again, because it was a nightmare just to get it to sit like that, believe it or not. Anyway, looks quite good. Engines, so showing those clear parts before. Now I just painted mine up when I did the rest of the kit. If I really want to, I'll probably go in with a bit of white or something, and then hit it with a light blue, and then shade it and make it look like the engines are on. But as I actually don't remember if I said it before, sometimes on the show you'll see these ones lit up, or you'll see these ones and this one and that one lit up. So it's up to you. They're all clear parts. You can light all of them if you want. It's not an issue there, so that's fine. I think on the one when I light mine, I will actually do those clear parts there. If you look inside the flight pod gaps, this is where the flight pods retract to. If you look inside there on the show, there seems to be like a little red hue, like a little bit of red light. And I'll probably maybe run some fibre optics connected to a red LED just to try and replicate that effect. And then on the sides here, you can also see they have little windows and things on the show. I will probably just drill them out just with a tiny drill, and you can use either a pin vise or a Dremel if you're lucky enough to get one, or some sort of motor tool, and just drill them out, and then have a really soft light in there. It's not very bright on the show, so they're not an overpowering light. It's quite soft, the effect. So I'll probably just backlight it and make sure it's not too bright. But I think it's a great looking kit. Really happy with how it's come together. I think Mobius did a pretty good job on this one. It's not too bad. I love it. I have got a couple more in my collection, and I will be building them. I had a lot of fun with this. As always, shoot your questions. If you've got any questions, any ideas, something I could do better, please let me know, by all means. Thank you to everyone who's watched the videos. Thank you to the subscribers and all the people with the thumbs up. It's fantastic. I know compared to a lot of people, I haven't got many, but no, I love it. It's great. It it really makes me happy that people are getting some use out of these videos. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm doing this because we're all scale modelers. We all want to have a bit of fun. We all want to learn a bit more, and hopefully I can help with that, and I'll get some enjoyment out of doing this. So, any ideas, tips for me, by all means, shoot us. Any questions, not a problem. I'll have some more coming up soon. I'm going to have a Viper Mark 7 kit build, so that's just going to be straight from the kit. That'll be coming up, and that's a Mobius one again. I'll have some armor coming up as well. That's pretty much ready to go. I might be doing a review on the AMT Death Star, the old school Death Star kit. That's not going to be much of a review, I'll tell you now. It's not going to be a build review. It's just going to be a kit review. So don't be disappointed on that one if you see it. We'll go from there. But thanks again. Thanks for watching. Hello to everyone around the world, and we'll see you again soon.